The next step in our process is to caulk the trim joints. This is often overlooked by the average homeowner, but is crucial to ensuring a professional result. There's many joints that need to be caulked in this area, and we'll show you the proper way how to do it. But first, I don't want you to be intimidated about different types of caulk. There's a litany of caulks that are available on the market, and for this purpose I like to use a basic acrylic caulk. It's a 25-year guarantee. It smooths out easily and it cleans up easy with water and is very paintable. Which brings me to a good point. You want to stay away from, when you want to paint your caulk, try to stay away from pure silicone, as the paint will not adhere very well to silicone as it would some of your vinyl caulks. There's other caulks for high moisture areas such as Seal that work well in bathrooms and kitchens. But for this purpose we don't need a caulk that's moisture resistant. There's also newer caulks on the market that have very short drying times and curing times. These are good in cold weather and also when we need to work quickly in a room, and this doesn't serve our purpose either. There's two basic types of caulking guns. One is the old-fashioned gun with the release trigger. This caulk gun you have to mechanically release each time you want the caulk to stop. This is a dripless gun, and this is state-of-the-art PVC construction, lightweight, very easy to use. It has a mechanical release. So each time you depress the trigger and let go, the caulk automatically stops. So having chosen the more inexpensive universal caulk, we've saved a little bit of money. But it's money well spent on our more expensive, easier to use dripless caulk gun. When you go to cut your caulk tube, there's a couple things to remember. First, they offer you, on most tubes, guides as to what degree of thickness and how far down the length of the tube you'd like to cut it. I always say less is more. If you cut it too deep and you have too big of a hole, it could lead to problems and you have excess caulk. So I like to cut it up at the top at about 1/4 of an inch on a 45-degree angle. Some of the tools you can use to cut this are a sharp utility knife, a sharp razor blade, or a regular knife. On your new dripless caulk gun, there's also an area where you can cut your caulk tube. Yet if you do have a knife, it's a little more precise. Some of the things I like to have on hand are a bucket of clean water and a rag. This is a 5-in-1 knife. That's a good multi-purpose tool for a painter. It's a scraping tool with a tool used to open paint, can remove nails, cleans out roller sleeves, and is just a great all-purpose tool that most every painter has. Now that we're ready to caulk, some of the areas we want to address are baseboard to wall, trim to trim, and an area such as here that is expanded and contracted over time. We want to start with light pressure, remembering that less is more. Don't be disappointed if you don't fill the entire crack the first time. With our wet cloth, there is a margin for error. Put the cloth in your finger and run right over the surface. And just like that, we have a perfect clean line. You may come across cracks that are wider than average, and if you do, and if the caulk settles, it's appropriate to go back and hit it again. Now, one of the tricks that I like to use when doing some of these transition spots where there is a cope or a curvature is to take my 5-in-1 or putty knife, wrap it with my damp rag, and I can get a perfect, clean caulk joint.